It's quite a traditional image within Zen to describe the Dharma as poison. This points in two directions. The first is that we have, alongside the image of poison, the image of dying on the cushion as an image of realization, but also that any medicine, and the Buddha himself proposed the Dharma as medicine, carries risks, is potentially dangerous. We get the dosage wrong. We apply it in the wrong way or at the wrong time. There's a short sutra in the Pali Canon which the Buddha speaks, the better way to catch a snake, which is, if you want to pick up a snake, pick it up by the head, behind the head. Then it can't bite you. If you pick it up by the tail, anything might happen. And it's in this spirit that the ordinary mind version of the Heart Sutra that we use in this Sangha, or that we also use in this Sangha alongside the more traditional version, replaces emptiness with not separate. No translation is perfect, and I in no way would suggest that we universally substitute not separate for emptiness. But emptiness is one of the most difficult, dangerous, poisonous ideas within Buddhism, and no less so within Zen Buddhism. Emptiness is, well, in its way quite clunky. It's a translation of the Sanskrit shunyata, which comes into Sino-Japanese as ku. Shunyata is the noun form from hollow, which doesn't necessarily mean empty in that sense. Obviously it can. Ku is the image of a cave with a hole communicating with inside and outside. The Chinese character combines the ideogram for cave with chisel. We pierce. As we have it in English, emptiness is very definitely a noun. It's a naming word. So it must be a thing. And it's one of those things which, when you say it even sounds like it has a capital E to it. Emptiness. This is one of the major concepts of Buddhism. So it's clearly a thing. But actually, if we think about it, emptiness is merely describing the quality of being empty, which is the quality of a thing, which is an adjective, like yellow. Is yellowness a thing? Kind of, but really it's just an adjectival noun. It's just describing, oh yeah, this is a yellow thing. As we say in Buddhism, this is an empty thing. And if it's an adjective, then it's relative. So actually, Thich Nhat Hanh asks us, well, every time you hear a word like enlightenment, you ask enlightened about what? If you hear a word like consciousness, you ask conscious of what? So we should do the same with emptiness. So empty of what? When we talk about something being empty, what's it empty of? The classic answer, of course, is it's empty of a separate self. So where does that get us to? We can talk about a cup being empty, can't we? And again, Thich Nhat Hanh points out, yeah, when you say the cup's empty, you mean it's empty of, well, tea, coffee. It's not empty of air. If you took all the air out and put it in a vacuum, it would still be, well, it occupies space. It lasts through time. There's no sense in which it's absolutely empty. It's always empty of. Empty, in this case, in the Buddhist sense of empty of a separate self. So what is self in this sense? Obviously I can relate it most directly to me, this. What would a self have to be separate? Well, it would have to exist. That's quite a nice English word, exist. Ex, as in exit, move away from. Something which exists stands apart, it stands out. It becomes separate from its background. So when we're saying things are empty, we're saying they don't exist in that sense. Now this is important because to exist in this sense, to be separate, implies that something is itself, entirely itself, and only itself, and that it lasts through time. So, this self is empty. I am empty. All things, we say, in Buddhism are empty. Why? Well, because this changes. This ages, and I will die. There's no question of that. And as we've explored, I'm not one thing. I'm actually many things, and I'm different things as I go through life, and different things at the same time. And I'm dependent on, well, on the universe, aren't I? Dependent on so many things. Again, another Thich Nhat Hanh idea, interbeing, the interconnectedness of absolutely everything. So to be a separate self, just talking about me now, bearing in mind that all things we say are empty. So to be a separate self, a non-empty self, I have to say, and actually, maybe we all do say this, probably not consciously, probably not intentionally, but we probably act as if I am always me. I am only me. I am always the same me. And being always the same me, I am entirely separate from you. Because these are the things which we require to be true, to think that we have full agency in the world, that we have control of the world, that we are, as we say, autonomous, that nobody is controlling us. The trouble is, well, we try out that idea. I'm a self. I'm a separate self. I'm always me. I'm only me. I'm always the same me. I'm entirely separate from you. And as Joko Beck says, self takes on world. Who's going to win? World every time. So clearly, that's not going to work. So what seems to be the alternative to that? Well, to say, I'm empty. I don't exist. This sense of self that I have, is merely an illusion. And there's a sense in which that lets me off the hook. And in fact, one of the things which attract a lot of people to practice is almost this sense, well, yeah, I'm sick of being me. I'm sick of being this person. I actually quite like the idea of being nobody, of non-existing. I certainly don't want to be this person. And which of us hasn't actually felt that? And I've known a lot of people begin to feel that in relationship to the practice. And of course, what that actually does is that takes us straight back to our sense of dependency in childhood and our vulnerability in childhood to our sense of identity and the developmental trauma that we all carry some version of, and the shaming and the being told that we don't matter, and the feelings of non-existence. Yes, that's true. I was told when I was that high, I don't matter. And mattering is what's central here. I don't really exist. It's as if I'm dead. And that's a worrying place to get to, if the idea that I am empty might lead us there. Okay, but I know it's not just me. It's not just me. All things are empty. Which is to say, in the sense that we've been talking about, that nothing has a separate self. Not me, not you, not this Raksu, not this computer keyboard in front of me. Nothing. And this can go one of two ways, because now nothing exists. Nothing stands out. Nothing has any real existence. It's all one, but it's all an illusion. And that's frightening. And this can go one of two ways. Either it's all in my mind. In fact, the world is in my mind. We have a strong, what we'll call idealist. It's not idealist in the Western sense, but a strong tradition of mind-only Buddhism. Now we can say, okay, is it me inventing the world? In this moment, and this moment, in this moment? Because actually, nothing exists, so there's really nothing outside my mind. Hey, I'm God. Or maybe I say I'm the Buddha, because clearly I bring all this into being, because where else could it be coming from? Or, well, actually, that's another way of saying I am in control. I make the rules. And then, of course, we're back into that same kind of megalomania. Self versus, or non-self in this sense, because it's not myself doing this, you understand, but it clearly is here. So I must be making the rules. So I must be making it up. And again, self, as Joko says, self versus world. Who's going to win? Or in this case, what I think of as non-self versus world. Empty self versus world. It's going to be the same outcome. And the alternative to this is say, yeah, but nothing exists. Not these things that I see around me, not this self that I feel I am. Now, come on, guys, this is real Buddhism. We have to really take this seriously. Nothing exists, nothing stands apart, nothing is separate. So clearly, in this world, there is no way of distinguishing. There's no meaning. There's no point. Instead of saying, I am God, effectively are now saying God is dead. There is no order, there is no ground, there is nowhere to stand, nothing to be, because nothing exists. Finally, it's all illusion. And of course, this is pure nihilism. We have this as a tradition in the West. What am I left with then? Well, enjoy myself or sink into depression. It doesn't really matter either way. It's not going to work. And in none of these, I don't exist, or only I exist, or nothing exists. In none of these answers, none of these versions of emptiness, is there any possibility of relationship, connection, the recognition of each other, or the recognition of our dependency. Weirdly, by establishing that things are empty, I seem to have also established that they're separate. Because in this world where there's only me or nothing, where is relationship? Where is that possibility? Ow! I seem to have been bitten by that snake, and bitten badly. So where's the error? Where am I going wrong? Is there some higher level, some mystical insight which I'm lacking here? Or perhaps I'm simply making some kind of logical error? I think we need to think about this, because if empty is separate, then what price solidarity? What price compassion? This may be wisdom, but it's not compassion. What price care? I think we need to continue this next week.